I got the suggestion quite a while ago to revamp a regular village, but I want to do it right now. So this is our victim right here. It's just a regular plains village. And the goal for this video is to make the village, honestly, just a little bit cleaner. I want to add things that are going to be a little bit more useful for the player, and then also make it a little bit safer for the villagers because they're quite stupid. So first thing I want to do is clean up the terrain, because like, what the hell is happening here with the paths? I think this part of the path was supposed to connect with that one, I guess. And then over here as well, like what? And then also I just want to make it look a little bit cleaner, like filling up some of the holes that we have over here. There's like a cave going through over here as well. So there's just like a lot of messy things. And if you want to revamp a village, I think this is a very common thing. So I'm going to show you what I would do when it comes to terraforming. So before I start, I'm gonna make like IRL, I'm gonna make it post it, but I'm gonna put it on the screen right now. Things that we want to fix. We have terrain. We want to fix the path. I know I want to fix the path. I want to make obviously the houses look a little bit better. So the houses, I want to make it a little bit safer. So like lighting up the entire area. So yeah, make the villagers safer. And then I also want to make it a little bit more gameplay friendly. And by that, I mean just having villagers that are actually working, apart from like farmers, because those are the only ones that we really have right here. And I think with that should be like a really good revamp for our village. So what I think I'm gonna do is jump into time-lapse mode right here, and I'll show you what I did. So I wanted to start off by flattening down some of the terrain, just getting rid of any awkward hill that I saw, filling in some holes, and then those holes I'm also like lighting them up on the inside just in case anything spawns. And you can see there was a massive hole in the ground that I just like basically left hollow. And then for the cliff, I basically just added some dirt. I made it look a little bit cleaner. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Okay, so I am finished, I think. So future me probably already explained it well. So yeah, I just leveled some of the terrain that I saw. I made these cliffs look a little bit better. Then also filled in a bunch of holes over here. And then over there at the bottom, I just cleaned up the random like little pools of water that were around, but I left the biggest one over here just so we can do something a little bit later. Now for the pathways, the first thing that I'm gonna do is make a layout and clean up some of the areas that are like really confusing. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up real quick. And hi, I'm back. So for the paths, I really just wanted them to be a little bit cleaner, just because villages tend to have like really messy pathways, so I just defined everything. So in the next clip, I'll just show you how it looks like all complete. So this is what it looks like from the top. I think it's way better. I will have to fix this area just because it's a little bit steep, and then also this area down here just because again it's a little bit steep, so we're gonna have to fix it with a little bit more terraforming, but it shouldn't be that difficult. Otherwise, for the path, I think we have laid out the perfect area. These villagers are hoarders, by the way. They had so many paths just going like out to nowhere, so I think this is a good layout for them. So now we can actually start making it pretty. Now for the path itself, I'm here in my mini build world where I made a bunch of pathways a while back. So I have this one right here, which I think is going to be perfect for the village. I kept it pretty simple, just some pathways, some coarse dirt and moss on the edges, and then just for decoration, some rocks using some stone, and then also some lanterns on top of a fence to light up the path, and then just some petals and wildflowers dotted throughout. So I think this one would be perfect for the village. So I'm gonna go back to the village and try to renovate the entire thing. So back to the time lapse. So future me will tell you all about the decorating. So for the decorating, I kept the path around 3 wide and mixed in some coarse dirt and also some moss on the edges. On the parts where the path ends, I added a little bit more coarse dirt to make it seem like the path isn't finished. So I started with the path itself, and then I placed in the leaves, some flowers, rocks. So you can see right here, that's where I extended that part of the waterfront just to make it look a little bit more natural, because they have wooden planks and I didn't like how that looks. So yeah, I just fixed that real quick. So I'll just hand you back to my past self to show you how I did the terraforming for the path. So I reached this little part right here that was supposed to be like a little bit more like terraformed. So I think I'm gonna do that right now. So first we're gonna go in and place the slabs first, just so we can really see how much space we need to actually add. So over here, I think this is pretty easy. I think I just can place some slabs like this. I'll try to only go with slabs, but oh god. Like, I feel like I'm now just realizing how difficult this might be. Like, I'm just placing slabs in a way that I can go up without jumping. So I'm gonna try to do that. Then we have to dig a little bit into the mountain, but that's gonna be fine. Maybe we can go like slightly to the left like this, just to make it look a little bit longer instead of going like straight down. So I might just do that. I don't know if you can tell what I did, but I think that's gonna be a little bit better. So again, I'm gonna try to follow that line and place slabs along the way. You can kind of see there what I'm doing. I think it will be easier to like visualize a little bit later. We can start going down way up here and gradually work ourselves down. So just like this. This is like a really tight corner, so I think I have to move it a little bit towards the left. Then we have to build out a little bit over here. We'll later fix this over here, but yeah, that gives us a little bit more terrain to go off of. I don't know if you can properly tell what I did, but I'm gonna replace this with dirt just so you can clearly see the pathway, and then also fix this little path of the cliff. So I'll be right back. So there we go. I think we can add a couple more like that, and that's the little pathway all done. I think you just have to like toy with it a little bit until you get something that you like. I am happy with how this looks. That's all done for this part. I'm just gonna go ahead and decorate it the same way I did with the other ones, and I'll be back. Oh my god, that was so draining. But anyways, okay, we're finally done with the pathway. It might have been like 2 minutes for you, I don't know, but it was almost 2 hours for me, so that was exhausting, but we're done. I think it looks so good. So over here where we started, you can really tell just changing the pathway makes it look so much better, and it's also a lot cleaner. Even though it's busier, it's a lot cleaner, and you can really tell the shape of the village. It doesn't sprout into like randomness. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I think with that we can finally move on to the houses, and that will really tie everything together. So I think I'm gonna start with this house right here. I think it's the simplest way. First off, I hate torches. Let's get rid of those. So for the house, I want to keep it really simple. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna be adding, I'm not really gonna replace any of the existing structure. I'm just gonna add to it. So what I'm gonna be using is, of course, spruce dirt. Spruce wood. Oh my god. I'm gonna just place all the variants into my hotbar. I'm gonna also use some oak logs. As I said, I hate torches, so I'm gonna use lanterns. I'm also gonna use some campfires, not to light up the place, but to decorate. I'm gonna place some planters, so I'm gonna use moss. You can use any type of dirt, but I just like how moss looks. And I'm gonna grab oak trapdoors as well, just to match what we already have. So first thing I'm gonna do is make a trim for the roof. It's not really that difficult. I'm just gonna replace all the edges with some spruce stairs. And this tiny little change will really make the house look a lot better instead of just like a simple roof. Okay, so the roof is all done. As you can see, I'm gonna leave this part open. If this were a 1-block middle, I would place the slabs instead, but we're gonna leave it like this. I think the roof looks a little bit too heavy, so I'm gonna add to the bottom. I'm gonna use some oak logs, and on all the corners, I'm gonna place 2 logs and then a stair just like this. I'm gonna do that on all sides, so just like this. There we go, that looks a little bit more balanced. And I'm gonna place some trapdoors against those stairs right here just to blend it out a little bit. There we go, that's pretty good. And I feel like this leaves us for the perfect area to place planter. You can pretty much use any flower that you like. My go-to plant usually is sweetberry bushes, but because villagers are stupid, I think I'm gonna replace it with just this flower. I will not attempt to pronounce that. So since this is the perfect place to place a planter, I'm just gonna place the moss over here. And then for detail, I like to use a oak trapdoor here in the middle, and then the rest of them can just be spruce. And then this can just be some flowers, just like this. And I'm gonna do that same thing on all sides. Oak in the middle, spruce at the ends, and then just some flowers. That's not flowers, okay. I'm gonna place lanterns right now. I'm gonna place them on all 4 corners. So those 2 right there. And then here at the back, whoops, there we go. And these side windows don't really have enough space to fit like decoration. So what I'm gonna do is just place a trapdoor, and that's gonna be like a shutter. This one at the back though does have a little bit more room. So I'm gonna grab some spruce fences and place those right here, and then place some spruce trapdoors at the top, just like this. And then over here at the side, also just a oak trapdoor. So I think that looks a lot better than what we had. And this house already has like mossy cobblestone like throughout, but I want to add a little bit more just so we add color. Here at the front, I want to make something similar to the window at the back. So I think this is perfect for like a trim. I'm gonna grab both walls, so mossy cobblestone walls and regular cobblestone walls. I'll place a block right here instead of having those stairs. Maybe this one can be mossy, and then walls right here. And we're just making a trim for the entrance, by the way. So I'm gonna grab some spruce fences, place those right here. Spruce trapdoor on top of each fence, and then we can use the campfire and place them right here in the middle, and then turn those off. And there we go. This is a really nice entrance. And then if you have this going on with a pathway, I like to just go in and replace it with cobblestone. So I'm gonna grab a pot and I'm gonna grab azalea leaves. So for the azalea leaves, I'm just gonna place some here at the top of the house. Just a couple, it doesn't have to be like too many. Honestly, that's pretty much enough. Then just replace one like this. And then on this side, I want to make a chimney. So I'm gonna grab some cobblestone and then a cobblestone wall as well. It can be random. I'm just gonna pick this one in the middle. And I'm gonna make it around 2 high just so we can place the campfire on top. So round that with some spruce trapdoors, a wall at the top, and then on top of the wall, I'm just gonna place a flower pot. And there we go. And there we go. That's still a pretty simple build, but it looks so much more elevated. And I think I'm going to repeat that with all of the houses. Now I'm going to move on to this one right here, just because it's a little bit different. So I'm going to replace these logs right here with the regular logs instead, just to make it match everything else. Otherwise, it just looks like kind of off. So, okay, we replace, and then I'm gonna get rid of that. It's so ugly. Okay, now the roof, we're gonna have to change it completely. And then, I'm sorry, but this house has to go bald, so I'm gonna get rid of all the roof. Okay, there we go. We have a bald house. I'm gonna use the slab, so I'm gonna go right here in the corner, and I'm gonna make a trim using some spruce slab. So, top slab right here in the corner. And I'm gonna go up by 1 until I reach the middle, and then go back down the same way, wrap it around, go up, middle, go down, wrap it around. Okay, so that's the trim. I'm gonna connect all of these top slabs right here, so just until they meet here in the middle. And then the rest of it, I'm just gonna follow the same pattern, and I'm gonna fill it in with some oak. So just, if I could, oh my god, there we go. So just one right here in the corner, and then just following the same pattern. And I think this looks good, but we can add a little bit more detail. So I'm gonna make a cross shape with this part of the roof, just like this. And then on each one of the corners, gonna place one oak slab. So right there, and I think that looks so much better. So that's already looking a little bit better. We do have some gaps, so I'm just gonna fill it in with some of the cobblestone. And while we're at it, I'm gonna replace a little bit more with some mossy cobblestone. Just for it to be consistent with the rest of the builds, I'm gonna place the same corner thing that we had on the other houses. So logs and then a spruce stair on top. We can also go in with some planters. So right here, then same pattern as before. This one's a lot easier just because everything is symmetrical. Now using a spruce fence, I'm gonna place one fence on each side of the window and then just some trapdoors on top. I think this one in the middle can be a campfire though. So just like this. And I'm gonna do that same thing on all sides. And there we go. On all 3 sides, it's just like this. Then here at the front, I'm also going to replace this with some spruce just to match the rest of the house. And I'm going to do that same trim. So just some cobblestone, then some walls right here, a fence on top, trapdoors on top, and then a campfire right here in the middle. So the house is pretty cute overall. Just one of the last things I'm going to do, I'm just going to place some leaves on the roof just like this. And there we go. I won't place a chimney on this one. I think it looks good like this. For this church, I do want to make something a little bit different just because this one is all cobblestone. I'm gonna replace most of it with some stone bricks instead. So I'm just gonna go in and replace a lot of it with some stone bricks. I will leave some of the cobblestone just like sparsely around. And then also in between, I'm gonna place some mossy stone bricks, just like we had over here. And I'll basically replace most of it. So I'll be back when this is all mixed up. Okay, so there we go. Now here at the front, I'm gonna get rid of these just because they're ugly. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to round this around the entrance. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up a little bit. And then using some stone brick stairs, I'm gonna connect those like you would a regular roof. So just like this. Maybe some stairs here in the corner. So there we go. This is how it looks like. So 2 blocks, stair across, then a slab right here on top, then 1 across and then 1 on top. And then this one, I'm gonna get rid of it and replace it with a regular block. Here in the entrance, I'm gonna place 2 walls and just some lanterns to light the place up. Then also, I'm gonna make it look like the rest of it. So some mossy cobblestone and then regular cobblestone right here. Now, I'm not a fan of the stairs right here, so I'm gonna get rid of them. Place a regular block instead, then a wall on each side and a lantern on top. Now for the roof, I'm gonna do something a little bit different, almost similar to that style. So I'm gonna get rid of all of these blocks right here. So up until the floor of this part right here, I'm gonna get rid of all of this. And then on each corner, I'm gonna place some stone bricks, just like this. Then some walls all the way across to connect all of those blocks. And then I'm also gonna mix in some of the cobblestone one. Now on top of each block, I'm gonna place another wall. And then go up using some fences. So just 2 fences on top of each wall. And we're gonna create that same pattern like we did over here. So right on top of this fence right here, I'm gonna go up by 1 until I reach the middle. Oh my god. Anyways, again, so on top of this fence, I'm gonna place a slab, then go up only using fences. I reach the middle and then I go back down until I reach the top of the fence. And I just repeat that same pattern all over again. Over here at the top, I'm just gonna connect these slabs right here in the middle and then place one right here. And then the rest of it, I'm just gonna fill it in using some oak. Then for some lighting, I'm gonna place a fence on top of this wall right here in the middle. I'm gonna do that on all sides. So right here, this is how it looks from the outside, just like this. And then I'm gonna place a lantern on top of all of these. So there we go. And then this is optional. I feel like a banner on each side will really go a long way. So just like this. If it has a pattern, that will be so much better, but I'm just gonna place a regular red banner. That's that part of the roof all done. So now I'm gonna move on and fix this part. This one's a lot uglier. So first things first, I'm gonna place some walls right here. Let me get some walls. There we go. So block, a wall, and then fences going all the way up, just like this. I think I want to do that over here as well. So I'm going to get rid of what I just placed. And I'm going to do the same thing. So block, a wall, and then fences all the way up on both sides. And then I want to do something different for the roof. So I'm going to get rid of this top fence right here and go in and just basically outline the house itself. So just like this, with some spruce stairs all the way across. There we go. The rest of it, I'm also gonna fill it in with some oak stairs. So just the same way that I did before, just like this. I'm just gonna getting rid of that corner so we can corner the stair. I think I liked it like this before. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Yeah, just like this. So what I did was basically place slabs right here and then 2 on top right here. And then this is just part of the original house. So just some some oak on top of this stone. So yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. I think I'm just gonna place some lanterns here on each corner. So 2 here and then 2 on this side. And then I think we can get away with placing some planters too. So right here in this corner, I'm gonna place 3 moss blocks right here. Do that same pattern with the trapdoors and then just fill it in with some flowers. I'm also gonna do that same thing here at the back. So this is how the back looks like, and then same thing on this side. So the back looks a lot better, I think. I'm just gonna do like a little tiny planter right here with some flowers. Then surround that in trapdoors and also do that same thing on the other side just so everything is symmetrical. So we're looking pretty good. I think I'm just gonna place some details over here. So I'm gonna get rid of this slab right here, place a block instead. Then I'm gonna place a wall on top, a spruce fence on top, and then a lantern on top. I think that looks so much better. I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side. So block, wall, fence, lantern. There we go. And then just to really complete the look, I'm gonna place those same banners over here on the corners. So right underneath where I place these lanterns, just over here on the corners. And I think that really completes the Watchtower vibe. I think one last thing I'm gonna do is just with some oak trapdoors, I'm gonna place some shutters over here for these back windows over here. I'm gonna do the same thing with this window right here, and then also the ones here at the sides. I'm gonna also do that for the top one, so around this side, And then don't forget the ones here at the front. So we have one right here and then another tiny window over here. And there we go. I think with that, we have completed the church, I think. And it fits in with the vibe. And I still kept most of the original build. So I'm going to do that same thing on that side. And there we go. That's all done. It's almost as if I used World Edit. And with that, I think this bottom area is completely done. I'm going to make the farm look different in a little bit. But for the houses, I think we're done down here. And up here, we have the same type of house that we already did down here. Except for that one we're gonna decorate in a little bit. But for now, I'm just gonna replace these houses with the ones that I had over here. So this is the before. And this is how it looks like after. I don't know if I made it the exact same angle, but this is how it looks like. This next one is the mason. So we're basically gonna give it the same treatment as we did the other ones. So first things off, I'm gonna change the trim of the house to spruce, just like the rest of them. And here in the middle, I don't know why they kept it flat, but I'm gonna place a spruce slab just going all the way towards the back. Now this one is quite cute. I like the little balcony that I have right here in the middle. So I'm gonna try and keep the aesthetic. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get rid of this planter. We're gonna place more after, but move. Instead of having the weight up over here, I'm gonna have it on the side. I'm just gonna extend this like a little bit and then also mix in some of the mossy cobble. Just over here, this one's gonna be a full block. And then I'm gonna place a wall right here in each corner. So one right there and one here. This one, I'm gonna replace it with a spruce fence gate. So all the way across, just to create like this pattern. I don't know what it is, but that. And then on top of each one, I'm just gonna place a lantern. And then also here, I'm gonna place some foundation bits like we had on the other houses. So just like this. And then don't forget to place your trapdoors right here in each corner. I mean, that one can be left blank, just the ones that have the stairs on them. Then this one, I think I'm gonna carry it all the way down. And then I think I can place a trapdoor right there. I think that looks a little bit better. For this window here in the front, I'm gonna keep it quite simple. I'm just gonna place a open fence gate like this, and then a trapdoor at the top. Over here, I think we can have like this going out, so like a pillar like this. That was a little bit too long, so it's only 2 wide, and then just a button on the side. Over here on the sides, I'm gonna do the same thing with the planters. So moss right here, oak in the middle, and spruce on the edges. Then some flowers. Here at the back, it's a little bit longer. So the trapdoors are gonna be alternating. So spruce on each one and then oak in the middle, just like this. Here at the back, I feel like it's a perfect place to have a window frame. So I'm gonna get rid of these 2 flowers right here and then place a cobblestone wall on each one. Then a fence on top and then a trapdoor on top of each one of those. And then here in the middle, just 3 campfires. I'm gonna turn those off. Then here on the roof, I do want to have a chimney, so I'm just gonna place it like right there. Go 2 up and then my campfire. Surround that in trapdoors. A wall here at the top and just a flower pot, and there we go. On the other side of the roof, I'm gonna place some azalea leaves just trickling down like a little bit, maybe like this, and maybe that one can go not like that. There we go. And then just replace some of them. Then this guy just needs some lanterns on all of the corners. Over here, I feel like it's the perfect place to have a little window, so I'm gonna get rid of this middle one and replace it with a window and do the same window frame that I did in the front. So I'm gonna grab a fence gate, place it right here, and then a trapdoor on top. And then for these side ones, I'm just gonna place like a shutter, so using an oak trapdoor on each side, just like this. And then just to seal things off, I'm gonna place a part of the path going up over here, just like this maybe, and then this one can be moss, and then I'll place a flower right there. And there we go. For the mason, I think we're done. Now, the only house that is left is this one over here at the top, but I think it's the same thing as, I think, that one down there, maybe? So I'm just gonna replicate what we did down there over here. And with that, I think I'm finally done replacing all of the houses. One of the last things I'm going to do is replace all of the farms that they have. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of these logs right here in the middle. I'm just gonna leave the corner logs, so get rid of all this. I'm gonna get rid of the water real quick just so it doesn't bother me, but yeah, I'm gonna get rid of all the logs in between and just leave the corners. So I'm just gonna place a spruce stair facing outward like this, so a stair on top of all of those logs just like this. So in between of all these logs, I'm gonna place cobblestone stairs and then also mix in some of the mossy cobblestone. I'm just gonna go and place those around and then replace a few of these like this. And I'm just gonna go all the way around and do that same thing. So there we go. Right here in the middle, I'm gonna replace these 3 stairs right here and place some spruce stairs just to get up a little bit easier. Then these 2 stairs, I'm gonna get rid of those and replace it with a full block just like this. Now in between of these, I'm gonna place some cobblestone walls. So right here on top of this full block, just a regular cobblestone wall like this. And then on the side of each stair, I'm gonna place some cobblestone walls as well. And then I'm gonna connect those in between using some spruce fence gates just like this. So all of these can have spruce fence gates. Oops. And then these I'm just gonna leave open so the villagers can go in and out. So me from the future is here. I was going to place the composter in the middle of the farm that we had, but villagers are so stupid, they kept trampling the entire crops in the middle. So let me show you what I actually did. So originally we had the water going here in the middle. As you can see, I made it all farmland, and then this trapdoor here is waterlogged, so everything is hydrated. And then I just placed a wall and then a lantern on top. Then the actual composter is over here next to the staircase in the middle, and then I just placed a trapdoor on top so they can't go inside, because sometimes they get trapped on the inside too. And then I think I also forgot to mention, but I placed some lanterns on top of the walls except for the ones here at the back, and then I just simply replaced that with all of those farms. And then I haven't had any issues with them trampling the crops or anything, but yeah, I'm pretty confident that this is like foolproof. So anyways, I'll hand you off to past me again to show you the last of the villager revamp. So from our checklist, we already fixed the terrain, the pathway, the houses. Now I'm gonna make it a little bit safer for the villagers. So of course, first thing that I'm gonna do is make some iron golems. So there's one right here. I'm just gonna place one over here at the bottom. So there we go, we have another one. And then over here at the top as well, just because they're quite lonely. So I'm gonna place one right here. And then you probably already noticed that there's this like light pole. I think it's a little bit ugly, but I'm gonna try to make this a little bit better. So for the lamppost, I'm gonna grab some cobblestone. So I'm gonna grab both variants just in case. And then also just some cobblestone walls. I'm also gonna grab some lanterns and some spruce fences. And then also a spruce fence gate and a trapdoor. So first things first, I'm gonna make it nighttime just so we can see where it's lit up and where it isn't. And honestly, it's pretty well lit because of the paths, and every single house has a bunch of lanterns, but I think we can make it a little bit better. So I'm gonna get rid of all these lampposts that we have right here with some like really bad torches. So the pathway itself does light up most of the village over here, but I think I'm gonna place a lamppost right here in the middle just because it's a little bit dark. So what I'm gonna do is just place either one of the mossy or just regular cobblestone, then a wall on top, then 2 fences on top, and then another cobblestone wall. This one is going to have a trapdoor here at the top, then a spruce fence gate like this towards the way that you want to light up, and then a fence at the end. And then underneath the fence, I'm just going to place a lantern. Then I almost forgot to mention, I'm going to grab a slab right here, place it on top of the fence gate like this, and then another slab on the edge. So there we go, we have a cute little lamppost. And I'm gonna replicate this exact thing wherever I feel like needs some light. So that one was a good spot. I think over here it's quite dark, so I'm also gonna do this over here. So there we go, I just placed a couple of them throughout the entire build. As you can see, I usually am peaceful, so I'm gonna turn it to easy just to see where the guys are spawning. So I just saw this golem kill something, so I'm gonna place, I think around here is a little bit dark. So what I'm gonna do is just with some torches and some moss carpet, I'm just gonna place a few moss carpets just randomly like this in patches, and then some of them I'm gonna have a torch underneath, so just like this, and then place the moss carpet on top as well. Again, it's pretty well lit just because of the path, so I'm just gonna do that wherever I feel like it's pretty dark or these guys are fighting something. Okay, so I just finished placing all the little patches of moss. I think you can kind of tell where they are. Just some general patches throughout the entire thing. So there's some over here as well. And then I think another one of these guys spawned in. So I think it's pretty safe for them for now. So now that the villagers are a little bit safer, I think one last thing I want to do is make like a little tiny dock over here. Just because they did have some pathways going out, but I think it fits better as a dock. So I'm gonna build 2 docks going outside over here. I think I'm just gonna go right here. I'm gonna create 2 blocks like this, and then do that same pattern we did over here. So just like this, And then on top of those logs, I'm just gonna place some stairs just like this. Then using some slabs, I'm just gonna extend those stairs until I want to. So maybe around here is a good size. I'm gonna place 2 logs on either side just to match the other ones, just like this. And then 2 stairs on top. Oops, there we go, like this. On the sides, I'm gonna place upside down stairs, kind of like we did for the farms. So just alternating between some mossy and regular cobblestone stairs, and then also do that same thing on the other side. Then some walls on either side just like this, and then connect that up with some spruce fence gates, and then of course some lanterns on each cobblestone wall just like this. So there we go, that's a cute little dock. I think I'm gonna do the same thing over on this side, just a little bit longer I think. Then this one, I'm gonna divide it in 2 just so we can have a little bit more variation. So this one doesn't have a middle block, but if you were, I would place the fence right in the middle. Otherwise, I'll just divide it like this until it's symmetrical. And then I do that on the other side as well. And then in between, I'm just gonna do some regular fence gates. And then I feel like this is really fitting. I'm gonna place some boats just over here, just floating, some with chests, some just alone like this, and then some of them I'm going to tie to the dock itself just to add like a little bit more detail. So just like this. This goes for like the trading bit. So obviously we have some docks right here. I think this is perfect for a fisherman. So I'm just gonna grab a barrel and place it inside of one of these houses right here. I'm just gonna place it there. This one doesn't have a job either, so I'm just gonna place a blast furnace right here in this inside. Then over here in this little pond, if your village doesn't have a pond, I would do it like near a body of water, but I'm gonna take advantage of this little pond right here. So I'm just gonna make it like a fishing allowed type of sign. I'm gonna place a cobblestone wall, a fence on top, then 2 trapdoors on top of the fence, and then a sign right here saying that fishing is allowed, so fishing, and then just like a tiny little bit of detail. I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side. And then here on the side, I'm just gonna place a crafting table with a chest on top, just like this, and then fill it in using some fishing rods. And there we go, we have a little cute fishing area. For the pond itself, I do want to grab some sea pickles and then also some lily pads, and then some bone meal so we can decorate a little bit this pond. I'm just gonna place a bunch of seagrass everywhere. I don't want it to be like too dense, so I'm gonna get rid of some just to make it a little bit more sparse. There we go. Then some pickles to light up the entire thing, and then some random lily pads on top. There we go, that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna extend this part of the path just so it looks like we actually do fish here. So I'm just gonna extend this over here. I was thinking I was almost done, but I want to make this like town center a little bit better. I think a really simple thing that we can do is change the little table that they have. So I'm gonna make this look like an actual table. So I'm gonna place 2 upside down stairs on either side and then a trapdoor in the middle, just like this. We can also grab some cobblestone walls and place those here at the bottom. So just like this on all sides. And then replace the oak with some spruce. This roof bit is not that bad. I'm just gonna place some banners to color code this same thing. So just like this, and then on the other side as well. So just like this, I think that's looking a little bit better already. Now this is just to decorate, but I'm gonna grab some chests and then just random food that they're supposed to be selling. So just to decorate, I'm gonna place a chest right here and then a cake over here. Then here at the front, I'm just gonna place some item frames with some random food that they're supposed to be selling. So maybe like this. And then I thought I was almost done, but I'm gonna place a fence gate right here on each side and then some here at the front as well, just to make it look a little bit more stable. So just like this. And I think with that we should be done. And there we go, I feel like that's pretty cute. I'm gonna do that same thing with this side. And then for the bell, I want to do something really creative. I didn't invent this, by the way. I found it on Pinterest. I'll probably tag the person on screen right now if I do find the person who did it. But anyways, I'm just gonna replicate what they did. So I'm gonna place a full block right here, just some mossy cobblestone with a wall on top, then a spruce fence on top, and then a spruce stair like this. Then behind that stair, I'm gonna place a fence and then a pressure plate on top, just like this. Then over here, we can place the bell. And then this is a part that I thought was genius. I'm gonna make a hole right underneath the bell and then make a 3x3 hole. So just like this. I'm gonna place a boat right here in the middle. Hopefully that's well positioned. And then I'm gonna tie the boat to the fence that we have over here. So I think it's a little bit lopsided. So I'm gonna try and go in and fix that a little bit. Whoops. So that's a little bit better. That's good enough for me. I'm just gonna place this back, and there we go. I feel like that's so genius. I'm gonna place a trap door right here. To whoever came up with this is genius. Oh my god, I would have never come up with this. So that completes the village revamp. This was a huge project. I didn't think it was gonna take that long, so I'm gonna take it for a tour real quick. So over here we have a little dock area, and then these villagers all have workstations. The path is all nicely decorated and well lit up as well. We can go back here. This is a little fishing spot that I have. We have a little farmer and another cleric. Then we can go up over here. And then here at top, this is like the town center. So we have some food stalls over here. Then the bell. We have a few more houses here at top. They're all decorated the same way. The mason lives on the other side of this hill. So another farm right here. And then here is the mason. I am such a big fan of keeping the terrain the way it is. I feel like it creates a little bit more ambience to the entire build. So over here we can head up, and this is where the other farmer is. So all the way up here we have a little farmer, and then there's some nitwit somewhere around here. But this is their little house. They're completely alone here at the top of the hill. But yeah, we get a huge nice view over on this side. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. And I feel like it's still very close to the vanilla feel, so I really like how this looks. It's just a little bit more elevated. So to that person who suggested that a while ago, I'm sorry this took so long, but yeah, I finally did it. And if you have any more suggestions on what I could build like this or revamp, please leave it down in the description. I really do appreciate it, and I think this is really fun, even though it takes like a long time to make. But anyways, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you next video.